The keycard blinked red again. Amara Brooks stared at the tiny light on the door handle. One short flash, one long. The digital equivalent of, "You don't belong here." She tried it again. Same result. Behind her, the lobby hummed with soft jazz, the scent of eucalyptus wafting from a hidden diffuser. It was her first night at the View, the upscale apartment complex she'd dreamed of for years. Modern glass facade, 24-hour security, rooftop pool, concierge service, a place that promised comfort and community. She smiled awkwardly at the security guard stationed by the entrance desk. "Hey, I just moved in today. My key's not working for some reason." He looked up briefly, then back down at his monitor. "Name?" "Brooks, Amara Brooks, apartment 1214. He typed something, slow, deliberate. "I don't see you listed here." "That's impossible. I just signed my lease this morning. I have the welcome packet right here." He didn't look at it. "You got ID?" Amara hesitated, then fished through her purse. He glanced at the driver's license, squinted, then handed it back. "Wait here." He picked up the phone, spoke quietly into the receiver, then hung up. "Yeah, she says she's approved. Go ahead and activate her card." He swiped something on his tablet. "Try again." Amara pressed the key to the door reader. This time the light blinked green. "Thanks," she said, flatly. "No problem," he replied, already looking past her. As she stepped into the elevator, she caught her reflection in the polished steel. Professional blazer, curly hair tied back, tote bag slung over her shoulder. She looked like every other young professional who lived here. So why had she been the only one asked to verify? She tried to shake it off. It's the first day, systems glitch. Don't make it a thing. But deep down, something tugged. That quiet, heavy instinct every black woman in a nice place learns to recognize. The sense that the welcome isn't quite extended to you. In her apartment, she unpacked in silence. Every few minutes, her eyes drifted toward the key card on the counter. That tiny piece of plastic, deciding who belonged and who didn't. When her best friend Elena called to check in, Amara told her what happened. "That's messed up," Elena said. "Did anyone else have issues?" "Not that I saw. Maybe it's nothing." "Amara, you moved into a building where the doorman smiles for everyone but you. Don't let them gaslight you with nothing." Amara laughed softly, though there wasn't much humor in it. "It's probably just a system error. Or a system working exactly as designed." Amara returned to those words after she hung up. That night, as she lay in bed, the hum of the building around her felt different, too quiet, too aware. Somewhere below, the lobby doors beeped open again. Green light, someone else entering freely. Amara turned to stare at the keycard resting on her nightstand. The small plastic rectangle reflected the moonlight, pale and indifferent. She whispered to the empty room, "If this is a glitch, it's one that knows my name." If you've ever been told, "It's just policy," or "It's just a glitch," when your belonging was questioned, this story is for you. Stay till the end, because Amara's quiet stand will expose what security really means in places that only feel safe for some. Hit like, comment, and subscribe to Equal Voices, where silence breaks and truth gets a keycard of its own. The next morning, the keycard worked. Green light, cheerful chime, as if last night had never happened. Still, Amara couldn't shake the feeling that the door had already made up its mind about her. The lobby was quieter in daylight, polished and sterile, with sunlight bouncing off marble floors. Mike, the night guard, was still there wrapping up his shift. His face was blank,
unreadable. "Morning," Amara said. He looked up, nodded once, and returned to his clipboard. In the elevator, the mirrored walls threw her reflection back at her. Blazer crisp, curls tucked neatly, coffee in hand. She looked like she belonged. But she'd learned long ago that belonging wasn't always visual. It was something people either granted you or didn't. Her apartment looked like a magazine spread. Concrete beams, huge windows, skyline glowing in pale blue. It should have felt like triumph. Instead, it felt like she was squatting in someone else's success. She made coffee and sat by the window, replaying last night in her head. "Don't make it a thing," she told herself. "People mess up, systems fail." But that phrase, checking credentials, kept looping back. He hadn't said checking your key, he'd said credentials. By noon, she had a delivery waiting downstairs, her first grocery order. She grabbed her wallet, slipped on sneakers, and headed to the lobby. The reader blinked red. She froze. Tried again. Red. Again. A new guard was at the desk this time, a young woman with straight hair and a bored expression. "Hi," Amara began. "My key's not working again." The guard squinted at her. "Name?" "Brooks, apartment 1214. The woman clicked through a computer. You're not showing up as active." "I just moved in 2 days ago." "Then you probably haven't completed verification." "I signed the lease, paid the deposit, everything. Can you call the manager?" The guard sighed, grabbed the phone, and mumbled into the receiver. A minute later, she hung up. "Try it now." Green light. "Thanks," Amara said. The guard gave a faint smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. "System glitch. Happens sometimes." But as Amara turned to leave, she caught sight of two residents, a young white couple, gym bags slung over their shoulders, walking in. Their cards blinked green immediately. No ID check, no questions. Her chest tightened. When she came back up with her groceries, she tried not to read into it. But that night, curiosity got the better of her. She went downstairs again around 10 when the evening staff switched shifts. Mike was back. She lingered by the entrance, scrolling through her phone, watching people come and go. 6 residents in 10 minutes, all white, all waved through without pause. When Amara stepped toward the door, Mike straightened. "Evening," he said, hand hovering near his badge scanner. "You live here?" "Yes, 1214. He nodded slowly. "Just checking. We've had some issues lately, with non-residents following people in." She stared at him. "Then maybe you should check the people following, not the people who live here." The guard didn't answer. She pressed her card to the reader. Green light. The door clicked open like nothing had ever happened. Inside the elevator, she caught her reflection again. Same face, same clothes, same tension behind the eyes. She pulled out her phone and opened her Notes app. Title: Incidents, The View. She typed quickly. Day 1, denied entry, claimed not listed. Day 2, card inactive again. Day 3, stopped at entrance despite working card. She saved it, hesitated, then opened the camera app. For a moment, she just stared at her own image on the screen, tired but alert, like someone preparing for a test she didn't sign up for. She whispered to herself, "If they're going to act like I don't belong here, they should at least have it on video." Then she pressed record, propped the phone against her bag, and started filming the door. The red light blinked again. This time, hers.
By the 4th day, Amara could predict the exact moment the card would fail. It always happened after dark, when the lobby was quiet and the cameras hummed softly in the corners. That evening, she returned from work in heels that pinched and a mind buzzing with deadlines.
She was too tired for another fight with a door. But when she swiped the card, red light. She laughed under her breath, a short, incredulous sound. Of course. Mike wasn't at the desk tonight. A new guard sat in his place. Older, kind eyes, silver hair. His badge read Harris. "Evening," he said. "Card acting up again?" Amara blinked. "Again?" "Yeah," Harris said. "You're not the first this week." That made her pause. "Really?" He nodded. "A couple of others had the same issue. The system sometimes flags apartments for extra verification. It's supposed to reset automatically, but—" He shrugged. "Technology." "Flags them for what?" she asked. He hesitated, eyes flicking to the security camera above the desk. "Couldn't say. Maybe something with lease paperwork, maybe security checks." She leaned in slightly. "Security checks for new tenants?" He hesitated just long enough to confirm what he wasn't allowed to say. Amara's voice softened. "Thank you for telling me." When she reached her apartment, she opened her laptop and searched the View Apartment Access System. Nothing useful came up, just marketing promises, luxury living, smart entry, 24-hour peace of mind. Smart entry. Peace of mind. She snorted. Peace for whom? Her phone buzzed, a text from Rachel upstairs. "You okay? Saw you having trouble with the door again." Amara typed back, "Yeah, just a glitch," they said. Rachel replied, "Funny, my keys worked fine all week." Amara didn't answer. She was already drafting an email to the building's management office. Subject: Repeated access failure, Unit 1214. "Hello. I've experienced multiple issues with my keycard being deactivated. Please confirm whether this is a system error or specific to my unit. Regards, Amara Brooks." She hit send. 2 days passed, no reply. Friday night came with rain, heavy, relentless. Amara came home late, soaked and exhausted, balancing takeout and her briefcase. The lobby was empty. Mike again. She swiped the card. Red light. Her food bag sagged in her hand. She sighed. "You've got to be kidding me." Mike looked up, already shaking his head. "Ma'am, can't let anyone in without active access." "It's me, apartment 1214. I've lived here for a week." He checked his tablet. "It says you're on restricted mode." "Restricted?" He looked uncomfortable. "Means management hasn't cleared your full access yet." "Hasn't cleared?" Her voice rose slightly. "I signed a 12-month lease. What part of that isn't clear?" "Ma'am, please lower your voice." She exhaled, biting the inside of her cheek. "You know what? Just call them." He hesitated, then picked up the phone. When he got no answer, he shrugged. "They must have left for the day." "So what am I supposed to do? Sleep in the lobby?" He avoided her eyes. "You can wait until morning." Something inside her cracked. "Wait until morning," she repeated. "Would you tell that to anyone else here?" He said nothing. A man in a business suit walked in behind her, dripping rain from an umbrella. The door opened for him instantly. Green light, no hesitation. He nodded at Mike, then glanced curiously at Amara standing there, wet and furious. Her voice trembled, but not from fear. "You see that?" she said, gesturing toward the door. "That's how easy it's supposed to be." Mike's jaw tightened. "Ma'am." "No," she said quietly. "You should hear this, because if I don't say it, you'll tell the next woman it's just a glitch too." The man in the suit stepped into the elevator, pretending not to hear. The doors slid shut, leaving only the sound of rain tapping the glass. Amara dropped her takeout on the floor, reached into her purse, and pulled out her phone. The screen glowed against the dim lobby light as she pressed record. Her voice was steady. "My name is Amara Brooks. I live in apartment 1214 at The View. This is the 4th time my keycard has failed in 7 days. They say it's a system error, but notice, it only happens to me." The red light on her phone blinked, mirroring the one on the door. By the time she finally got upstairs, soaked to the bone, she wasn't angry anymore. She was done waiting for permission to belong. She plugged her phone into the charger and watched the video replay once, twice, 3 times. Then she whispered, "Let's see if your system glitches in public." By morning, the video had already reached a few thousand views. Amara hadn't even added hashtags, just posted it on a whim before bed with the caption, "New apartment, same story. When your smart key doesn't work unless you're the right color." When she woke up, her phone buzzed nonstop. Notifications stacked like falling dominoes. "Girl, this your building? Tag local news. Same thing happened to me in Dallas." Amara scrolled through the comments, half awake, coffee cooling in her hands. The faces on the tiny icons were from everywhere, people who understood without her needing to explain. But not everyone did. Some comments accused her of exaggerating, of playing the victim. One said, maybe she just didn't set up the card right. Another, always gotta make it about race. She closed the app. She didn't want to argue. She wanted answers. By mid-morning, she received an email from the building's management office. Subject, unauthorized recording on premises. Dear Mrs. Brooks, we have received reports of a video recorded within the property without permission. This is a violation of the View's resident policy. Please remove it immediately to avoid legal action. Regards, management. Amara stared at the screen. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but with disbelief. They hadn't written her back about the access issue, but the second she spoke publicly, they replied in under an hour. She hit reply. Dear management, thank you for finally responding. I will not remove the video. What's truly unauthorized is being locked out of my own home. Best, A. Brooks. She sent it before she could overthink it. That afternoon, there was a knock on her door. Through the peephole stood a man in a navy suit, the building manager, Mr. Calloway. Slick smile, clipboard in hand. Mrs. Brooks, he said when she opened, we'd like to resolve this situation privately. Privately, she repeated. He gestured politely. Could we talk inside? She crossed her arms. We can talk right here. He shifted. There's been a misunderstanding. The access system automatically updates for new residents. Sometimes the security protocol misidentifies accounts that look suspicious? Ma'am, please, we have to ensure everyone's safety. And who exactly are you keeping safe from me? He blinked. No one's implying, then why was my name flagged? He hesitated. Flagged? I spoke with your technician. He told me my card had been restricted. That doesn't sound automatic. Calloway's polite expression hardened. That employee was not authorized to share internal information. I'll make sure that's addressed. Amara felt the air leave her lungs. You're suspending him for telling the truth? He straightened his tie. Mrs. Brooks, we take all concerns seriously, but I'd advise against spreading misinformation online. It can cause unnecessary tension. Misinformation? She said, her voice low now. Everything I said happened. I have footage. Then perhaps we can discuss that footage before it damages reputations. She realized what he was really saying, before it damages ours. Amara nodded slowly. You're right, she said. Reputations are fragile things. Then she closed the door. That evening, she met Rachel in the hallway. Her neighbor held a glass of wine and looked uneasy. Heard about your video. It's all over my feed, Rachel said. Amara raised an eyebrow. Did your key ever stop working? Rachel shook her head. No, but the way people are talking, maybe it's time we asked why. We? Rachel nodded. You shouldn't have to deal with this alone. Amara felt something ease in her chest, a small flicker of solidarity. Thanks, she said. Later that night, she scrolled through her DMs again. Among the noise, one message caught her attention. The profile had no picture, no name, just the handle, @InsideViewTech. I work in system maintenance. You're right, your card didn't glitch. It was manually flagged by admin. Check the timestamp, 9:42 p.m., your move-in day. Don't reply to this message. Amara's heart thudded. She grabbed her laptop, opened the resident portal, and pulled the access log, a list of times her card had been used. There it was, 9:42 p.m., status, limited access, verification required. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Verification required. Someone had labeled her as a security risk before she'd even unpacked a box. She stared out the window, at the city shimmering with light, each one belonging to someone whose entry wasn't questioned. This wasn't a glitch. It was a pattern written in code. And now she had proof.
The next morning, Amara woke up to a pounding in her chest that wasn't quite fear and wasn't quite adrenaline. It was purpose. She sat at her kitchen table, staring at the laptop screen, replaying the access log again and again. 9:42 p.m., limited access, /verification required. It was the first night she'd moved in. Someone had flipped a digital switch on her name before she'd even used the elevator. She took a slow breath, opened her email, and began typing. To Building Management. CC, Tenant Relations, Local Housing Authority. Subject, Discriminatory Access Restrictions, Formal Complaint. Dear Management, attached are access logs showing my entry permissions were manually limited at 09:42 p.m. on my move-in day. I am requesting an immediate explanation for why this action was taken and by whom. If this is not resolved within 48 hours, I will pursue legal and media escalation. Sincerely, A. Brooks. She attached screenshots of the logs, the video clip, and hit send. Then she sat back, heart still pounding. For the first time since this began, she wasn't waiting for approval. She was forcing accountability. By afternoon, the video had jumped past 100,000 views. News outlets began tagging her username. Someone on Twitter had posted side-by-side screenshots of her footage and the building's promotional ad, captioned, "Luxury living as long as you look the part." Her phone rang, an unfamiliar number. "Miss Brooks, this is Lydia Chang from the Baltimore Ledger. I'd like to ask about your experience at The View. Do you have time to talk?" Amara hesitated. I don't know if I'm ready for that." "You don't have to be ready," Lydia said gently. "You just have to be real." That line stuck. They met the next morning at a cafe near the harbor. Lydia brought a small recorder, a notepad, and the calm confidence of someone who'd been in this story before. "Your video struck a nerve, but I want to understand the system itself. The flagging. That's not random. Who decides it?" Amara showed her the screenshot from the anonymous message. Lydia's eyes narrowed. If that's true, this could go beyond one building. The same property group owns half the high-rises in this district. "You think it's company policy?" "I think it's convenient bias," Lydia said. "Technology makes it easy to automate discrimination and harder to prove it's intentional." Amara stared at her coffee. "I just wanted to live in peace." "That's exactly why your story matters," Lydia said softly. 2 days later, Lydia's article dropped. The View's security system flags residents for monitoring. Sources claim bias in access algorithm. It exploded. National outlets picked it up within hours. The management company released a terse statement. "We do not condone discrimination. Our system operates based on lease verification only." But Amara had more than words. She opened her messages again. The same anonymous tech worker had written back. "You didn't hear this from me, but the term used in admin settings is visual verification required.
It's manually applied. Only 5 residents have it right now, all black or brown. Amara read the line 3 times. Her throat tightened. Visual verification, a polite synonym for suspicion. She sent the message to Lydia. 10 minutes later, Lydia replied, "Got it. We're verifying with another source. This could blow open the entire system." That evening, Amara took the elevator down for the first time, without recording, just to feel the air in the lobby again. She walked slowly toward the door, pressed her card to the scanner. Green light. Mike looked up from his desk, eyes uncertain. "Good evening, Miss Brooks." She met his gaze. "Evening." For a moment, he looked like he wanted to say something. Maybe apology, maybe excuse, but he said nothing. Outside, the city buzzed with rain and neon. Her phone buzzed again. A message from Lydia. "Management has scheduled a press conference tomorrow. They're denying everything, but we've got the logs. You ready to go public with your name?" Amara stared at the message. She thought of the sleepless nights, the sideways looks, and the word restricted stamped quietly onto her life. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then she typed, "Yes, I'm ready." She slipped the keycard into her pocket. It felt lighter now. Not a gatekeeper, but a reminder. Tomorrow, she wouldn't just be proving she lived there. She'd be proving that she belonged, in every sense of the word.
The press conference was held in the building's courtyard. Ironic, Amara thought, considering how many times she'd been denied access to it. Rows of cameras lined the cobblestone path, and a banner with the property company's logo hung across the glass facade, committed to fairness and security. Amara stood off to the side with Lydia, heart hammering. The media had been circling for days, but this was the first time she'd see the people who'd hidden behind emails and policies come face to face with her story. The company's spokesperson, Daniel Royce, took the podium. Smooth voice, tailored suit, polished to perfection. "Recent social media posts have misrepresented the View's security procedures," he began. "Our access system is designed to ensure safety for all residents. We categorically deny any racial bias or discrimination in our operations." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Cameras flashed. Lydia leaned close to Amara. "Wait for the Q&A, she whispered. "That's when you speak." Royce continued, "Our system operates using data verification, not subjective judgment. We value diversity and—" "Then why?" Amara interrupted, her voice steady but loud enough to cut through the noise. "Was my name flagged before I even moved in?" All eyes turned. Royce froze mid-sentence, blinking. "Ms. Brooks, I understand your frustration, but that information is confidential and technical in nature." "Confidential? You mean hidden? Like the part where your verification system only applied to black and brown tenants?" Gasps erupted. Reporters leaned forward, pens scribbling. Royce adjusted his tie. "That's an unfounded accusation." "I have the logs," Amara said, holding up her phone. "And I'm not the only one. 5 residents flagged as visual verification required, all of them people of color." Lydia's camera was already rolling. Royce's face tightened. "Ms. Brooks, we will not comment on internal. Then let the footage comment for you." She tapped her phone. The video played. The red light, the locked door, her calm voice describing the same system he'd just called fair. The crowd fell silent, except for the echo of her recorded words. "Notice, it only happens to me." When the clip ended, Amara lowered her phone slowly. "Safety shouldn't depend on skin tone," she said. "I wasn't asking for special treatment, just equal access to my own home." A reporter shouted, "Mr. Royce, is this policy company-wide?" Another followed, "Will you release the full audit data?" Royce stammered, "We're reviewing procedures." Translation, We got caught. That night, Amara's video replayed on every major news channel. Commentators debated, activists tweeted, lawyers offered pro bono support. Someone online dubbed it the keycard case. Rachel knocked on her door around 10 p.m., holding a bottle of wine. "You did it," she said, eyes shining. "I didn't do anything. The system did." Rachel smiled. "You made them look at it." They sat by the window, the city humming below. For once, Amara felt a strange calm, like the noise outside wasn't chaos, but movement. Her phone buzzed again. A message from @InsideViewTech. "They're purging the access data tonight. If you want proof, download your records now." She shot upright. "They're deleting it." Rachel blinked. "What?" Amara rushed to her laptop, logging into the portal. The logs were still there, for now. She hit export, watched the progress bar crawl across the screen. 95%, 98, done. Seconds later, when she refreshed, every entry was gone. A new message appeared. "No activity available for this user." She exhaled sharply, hands trembling. "I've got them, the whole list." Rachel leaned in. "Send it to Lydia." Amara attached the file and hit send. The next morning, the story exploded again, this time with evidence. The Baltimore Ledger ran the headline, "Exclusive. Apartment chain deleted data after racial bias allegations. Whistleblower confirms tampering." Within hours, the city's Housing Commission announced a formal investigation. A week later, Amara walked through the lobby again. No one stopped her. No one asked for ID. The new guard, a young black woman, smiled as she swiped her card. "Have a good night, Miss Brooks." "Thanks," Amara said, pausing at the door. "Glad the system's finally working." The guard grinned. "For everyone this time." Amara nodded and stepped into the elevator. The green light reflected off the polished walls, steady and bright, like a small, quiet victory. She thought about all the times it had blinked red, all the times she'd hesitated before pushing back. Now, every time that light turned green, it wasn't just entry, it was acknowledgement. For the first time since she moved in, the view actually felt like home.
The investigation moved fast. Too fast, Amara thought, like a storm gathering over something fragile. Within a week, her inbox filled with messages from lawyers, activists, journalists, even politicians. Some wanted interviews, others wanted statements. Everyone wanted her story. She wasn't sure she wanted it anymore. But it was too late. The footage, the logs, the deletion, it had all turned into something bigger than her keycard. News outlets across the country ran versions of the story, biased access systems exposed, smart security, old prejudices, the view under fire. On social media, the hashtag #TheKeyCardCase became a symbol. People posted their own stories of suspicious security checks, of doors that didn't open, of policies that felt too personal. One woman wrote, "They told me my gym badge was demagnetized, but my white coworkers work fine. Maybe our cards aren't the only things coded differently." The city started paying attention. The Housing Commission scheduled a public hearing. Amara was asked to testify. She sat at her desk, staring at the invitation email. Part of her wanted to say no, to let someone else carry the weight. But another part remembered that first night, standing in the lobby with the rain soaking her hair, being told to wait while others walked in freely. She replied, "I'll be there." The hearing took place in a large municipal hall. Rows of cameras lined the back, and residents packed the seats, not just from the view, but from across the city. When Amara walked to the podium, the room fell silent. She placed her notes on the stand, but didn't look down. "My name is Amara Brooks. For weeks, I was told my keycard didn't work, that it was a system error, that it wasn't personal. But the data showed otherwise." She paused, scanning the crowd. Faces of strangers, some curious, some nodding, some weary. The view isn't just one building. It's a reflection of something much larger. We build systems to keep people safe, but who decides what safety looks like? And who gets seen as the threat? The microphones picked up every word, her voice steady but weighted. I'm not here because I want revenge. I'm here because I don't want the next person to be told they don't belong in the home they pay for. For a moment the room was silent. Then applause broke out, hesitant at first, then loud enough to fill the hall. Lydia caught her eye from the audience and mouthed, "Perfect." After the hearing, as Amara stepped outside into the crisp afternoon air, reporters surrounded her. "Ms. Brooks, how does it feel to stand up against such a powerful company?" She smiled faintly. "It doesn't feel powerful. It feels necessary." "Do you think this will change anything?" She looked straight at the cameras. "It already has." Later that week, the Housing Commission released its findings. The View's access system used a discretionary security flag that disproportionately affected residents of color. Multiple administrators approved the practice. All have been placed under review. Within hours, the property company issued a public apology. They called it an unfortunate oversight. Oversight. That word again. Soft enough to fit inside a headline, vague enough to hide behind. But this time, the world didn't buy it. A few days later, Amara received a letter in the mail. No logo, no stamp, just her name, written neatly. Inside was a single page, unsigned. "We've removed the flags. You were right to fight. Some of us couldn't, but we're grateful you did." She read it twice, then folded it carefully. For the first time in weeks, her hands weren't shaking. That evening, she walked through the lobby again. The same marble still gleamed. The same jazz still played. But something was different. Not the walls, not the lights, but the way people looked at her. Not curiosity, not suspicion, just recognition. Mike was gone, reassigned maybe. The new security guard nodded politely when she passed. As the elevator doors closed, Amara caught her reflection one last time. The same woman as before, but standing taller now, like someone who stopped asking for entry and started claiming space. The green light above the door blinked once, clean and sure. It wasn't just permission anymore. It was proof.
Weeks later, the headlines began to fade, replaced by newer scandals and louder stories. But in Baltimore, the echo of the keycard case lingered. The View's glass facade no longer gleamed the same way. To some, it looked like transparency. To others, like exposure. Inside, the building was quieter. The staff had changed. New management, new rules, new slogans about inclusion. Amara saw posters in the lobby now. Every resident counts. The irony made her smile every time she passed them. She still kept her lease. People asked why she didn't move, why she'd want to stay in a place that had tried to shut her out. But leaving, she realized, would have been a quiet way of saying they'd won. Staying meant reclaiming every square foot of belonging she'd already earned. Some nights she'd ride the elevator down just to stand by the door that once rejected her. She'd swipe her card, hear the familiar chime, and watch the light glow green. A color that meant permission once, but now meant victory. Lydia's investigation didn't end with the View. Her articles uncovered similar patterns in complexes across 3 states, automated risk filters, suspicion algorithms, all coded under neutral names, but all disproportionately targeting tenants of color. The Department of Housing and Urban Development launched a wider probe. They called it the Brooks Review.
When she told her, Amara laughed softly. "They named it after me?" "They had to," Lydia said. "You started it." Amara shook her head. "I just wanted the door to open." "Exactly," Lydia replied. "That's how all movements start, with someone who's tired of knocking." A month later, Amara received an invitation. Baltimore City Hall. Recognition ceremony for civic impact. The letter was formal, printed on heavy paper. She read it twice before setting it down beside her coffee cup. The same city that once ignored her emails was now asking her to stand in front of cameras again, not as a problem to manage, but as proof that speaking up mattered. When the day came, she wore the same blazer she'd worn that first week at The View. On stage, the mayor shook her hand and said, "You reminded us that fairness doesn't run on code, it runs on conscience." She smiled, but her eyes drifted toward the back of the room, where a few young residents stood watching. One of them, a teenage girl, mouthed silently, "Thank you." That moment meant more than any plaque. Later that night, Amara returned home. She parked her car, crossed the familiar lobby, and pressed her card to the reader. Green. The guard smiled. "Welcome home, Miss Brooks." "Thanks," she said, stepping inside. Upstairs, the city lights spilled across her floor like gold water. She placed the award on her kitchen counter, beside the keycard, the same small rectangle that had once locked her out. It sat there quietly, harmless now, just a piece of plastic. But she knew what it symbolized, how easily safety could be turned into exclusion, and how something as simple as a locked door could become a lesson for an entire city. She picked up her phone and opened the Notes app, scrolling down to the entry she'd written weeks ago. Incidents, The View. Below the last line, she added one more. Day 52. Door opens, no questions asked. Then she saved the note and smiled. Through the window, Baltimore shimmered, messy, imperfect, alive. Amara whispered to herself, "This time, the system blinked first."
Amara never thought a plastic key card could change anything. It wasn't a protest sign or a courtroom battle. It was a small, silent piece of technology that just didn't work. But in that failure, it revealed something far larger than a malfunction. It revealed how bias doesn't always shout. Sometimes it hums quietly through systems, hidden behind words like verification, policy, or security. Her story traveled far beyond her building. Within months, property companies across the country were forced to review their access protocols. Some quietly removed their risk filters. Others issued public apologies about technical oversights. And for the first time, digital discrimination became a phrase discussed in city halls and state committees. But for Amara, the real victory wasn't in the reports or the hearings. It was in the subtle change she could feel. The guard who smiled genuinely. The neighbor who said hello without curiosity. The sound of a green light blinking, steady and certain when she swiped her card. She often thought back to that first night. The rain, the red light, the guard's blank look. The sting of being doubted in a place she'd earned the right to call home. She didn't know then that she was standing at the door of something much bigger. A story about who gets to belong and who gets questioned for trying. Now, every time she walks through that lobby, she holds her head high. Not out of pride, but peace. Because she proved that even the smallest act of resistance, even pressing record, can open more than one door. Amara's keycard didn't just grant access, it sparked accountability. And that's what justice looks like when it begins quietly, with one person refusing to accept it's just policy. If Amara's story struck a chord, if you've ever been told you didn't belong somewhere you worked, lived, or simply existed, remember, silence protects systems,
not people. Share this video, leave your voice in the comments, and subscribe to Equal Voices, where the doors that once stayed shut finally open, one story at a time.